What's up? Good Tuesday evening to you all out there, but a little post-combine action there for you. Welcome into another episode of the Parking Brown Show. I'm Jacob, Mr. Casey Kinnaman, and Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. You can go watch your 50-win Cavaliers if you want to do that. Everybody, the McNeil meme. Have you won 50 games? Everybody, no. It's only March 3rd. The Cavs. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That one hit pretty hard. That was nice. It was a really good execution. The man never misses. But yeah, you can go check them out. You go over SeatGeek, use our promo code BarkingBrowns, all one word, all capital, get $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you hit that sub button, give us a thumbs up, send it to 3 of your friends and 2 of your enemies, and because I don't give a shit if they hate view it. A view's a view. I don't give a fuck. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm decent. Yeah. I think I had my last appearance on Sports for CLE for the foreseeable future today. So bittersweet. I got to follow my girl Mary Kay. Always a good time.
Huh. Sounds like a hell of a lineup they got going over there. And I'll tell you both what I worked and I sleep during the day, so it was like right before I went to bed today, I saw this like Nick Chubb stuff, and I'm not going to get upset, prematurely.
Pure spec. Mary Kay used the word probably.
Right. It's just I'm not going to get upset early because you have no idea what's going to happen. And Andrew Berry has said they're going to let him test the market. That doesn't mean they're letting him walk. And I think saying something like that is going to get the people a buzz. And I understand that. So all I said today is I feel like if Nick Chubb was not a Brown, I feel like that would be a mistake. I understand there's some baggage there. Obviously, injuries. I don't know how you decide what to pay a guy like that. And you don't know what type of he's going to be in good shape, but you don't know what type of physical condition his body is going to be in just because it's suffered 2 season-ending injuries in a row. And I know all of those things, but I just think some things are bigger than football. And so where I come out on that is I hope he's on the roster. I just hope he's on the roster. And I guess I'm kind of wondering what you guys both think about that.
You're not alone. I mean, Nick Chubb is my favorite football player of all time. But I've had time to wrestle with this. Like they said, they're going to let him test the market. That's what's happening now. Nothing new's happened. And there's a chance that someone offers him more than the Browns are willing to offer him. That's a possibility. That is among the range of outcomes. But in reality, even though he's my favorite player, you got to be able to separate. And if you were to move on from Nick Chubb, now would be the time.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it when it's too late. You've already given him the extra year after they didn't know him anything going into last year. They brought him back. It's a ridiculous draft class. So if you were going to move on, this would be the year to do it. I hope they don't. I hope they keep him around for a year or 2. But he also plays the most replaceable position in all of sports. So it's just the reality of the situation.
Especially, I mean, you just said this, but especially this year. Yeah. Especially this year when, we talked about this last night on OBR Mock Draft Duel over on the OBR YouTube channel. I went into the combine thinking about this running back class, and I think even more highly of it, which I thought was impossible. It's a perfect storm, man. Like a perfect storm of bad circumstances that could lead to moving on. But in the end, you're going to have 4 running backs probably because they pretty much always had 4 on the roster. And I don't see a reason why he can't be that number 4, so to speak. Although, like Casey said, they're somebody. If he goes out there and someone offers him 5, 6, 7 million or something like that, he should take it. He should take that. Of everything he has done, he has earned every penny that someone is offering him. So, I would not be mad at him. Would I be disappointed? Yeah, man. Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah, how could you not be?
But that would suck. I would root the fuck out of whoever it was. Even if I'll say this. I would have a part of me that would root for the Steelers if he played for them. Yeah.
Do it.
Do you think Nick Chubb would do that? Like, just a question, honest to God. Do you think Nick Chubb would do that? If it was his only offer, he wouldn't have a choice. But I don't think he would only get like one offer.
Yeah.
I think, if it was his only choice, probably, right? Because he wants to get paid. I mean, who doesn't want to get paid? And so
he wants to keep playing, and
I couldn't blame him. But I think, to me, just having known the person that Nick Chubb is and what he values, I think he would want more to win a ring. And there's probably going to be somebody, one of these contenders, that would like throw him a upside type deal.
Hey,
I could see something like that happening.
People were furious at 3.5 yards per carry not being on the Browns and being on that Super Bowl runner-up.
Yeah.
I will burn this fucking timeline to the ground if he goes to Pittsburgh.
That would be so bad.
No, I'm not doing it. I will figure out time travel. We will get to a different. We're Rick and Morty in this shit, dude. I'm not playing that game.
What if he's our anger being?
Yeah, him or Harambe.
Yep.
What is Harambe? That explains a lot.
That would explain a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like but on the same token, I feel like this is just stirring up discussion pre-free. It's like nothing could even happen.
Nothing's happened.
Dude, I just saw another like Andrew Berry slander post, and I'm not even here to toot Andrew Berry's horn in response to that or anything like that. Like, I'm not gonna because like the post made sense, like some of the things that were said, it was like, but it's like Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb are going to leave, and there's no quarterbacks on the roster, and it's like, well, what are you supposed to do right now?
Right.
It reminds me of last May when all the media, like the local media, just were burning them, calling them unserious, and it was like, you can't win games in May. You can't do anything in May. For the most part, there's some very discount free agents still out there and stuff, but like it's like next week or 2 weeks from now, because you got to give free agency a week, because some of these things really take some time. You've got that first wave, but you get a week or so into free agency and nothing's happened, you can be very angry. But I'm just like, what? Because one reporter and Mary Kay, no one else has said anything about Chubb leaving, said that he probably won't be back. It was very clear that she didn't say sources say he probably won't be back. Like that's not what it was. It was like, just because of that, we're all like just up in arms, furious on March 4th. And I'm just like, it's not that serious.
No, I mean, I'm not furious at all. They tendered Blake Whitebeard today.
That's true.
If that's not an all-in move, I don't know what the fuck is.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, something that is tangible that I do think is worth discussing is the fact that the report came out that the Las Vegas Raiders are potentially shopping Michael Mayer, who was coached by Tommy Rees, attributed. I think there's a quote out there that Mayer has said that Tommy Rees was a key piece of development for him. He was a second-round pick, and I've always thought was really encouraging. It just, best player available, Brock Bowers comes to your team, and you're not going to do the 2 tight end thing or just don't want to allocate your resources there as much. You both brought up the possibility of one of these trades that's like kind of under the radar that could make a difference. I'll tell you what, a trade that I think would make a difference is if the Browns could get Michael Mayer. I don't know what it would cost you. I don't think it would be super expensive, but I think he would fit really well with what you want to do and could really be another dynamic weapon for you that I really would. I mean, he's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah, I want to check something on it, but here's the thing. Go ahead.
I'd say a 4th. Just trying to think what I would give compensation wise.
But that feels like more than you gave for Jerry Jeudy. You're not giving up more than you gave for Jerry Jeudy.
Well, no, you're looking at it wrong. You're paying for the contract. He's on a rookie deal.
So was Jerry Jeudy.
No, because you immediately extended him. He played 0 snaps on rookie. He played 0 snaps on said rookie deal. He was also tendered. He was also it was a tag that was, 12 or 14 or whatever it was supposed to be.
He also
paying
did
peanuts for this.
He also didn't have less than 200 receiving yards last year.
Yeah, he also didn't have Brock Bowers to contend with.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me with that? Like,
Michael Mayer missed 7 games.
A tight end on Brock Bowers' team did not produce. Yeah.
He missed 7 games and he had 157 receiving yards. I'm just saying, he didn't.
I don't know what he cost.
You're getting him for a day 3 pick.
He's got a hell of a lot more upside than anybody else the Browns have behind.
I just don't think it would cost that much, is all I'm saying. I'm not arguing that you should take him. I think you can get him for a 5th or a 6th.
That
We're
would
arguing
be awesome.
between a 4th and a 5th. I'm cool with either. I'd be
Sure.
cool with a 5th.
Sure.
I mean, you've got enough of those.
Right. And
are you really say it is a 4th and a 5th? Between those, are you really getting somebody of that ceiling in those picks?
With tight ends, you might. If you're drafting a tight end in this draft,
there are a lot of high
defensive tackle in this draft. There's going to be
But along the lines of if you're trying to,
now you talked me into it.
But I'm just saying, along the lines of if you're trying to win this year, Mayer is further along. I would argue Mayer's further along and could probably help you more than the average rookie tight end would help you. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's wrong. I just think
it depends on where you take that rookie tight end.
But I agree, because tight end's usually that position it takes longer to nurture.
True. Right. And he does have the familiarity with Reese, which feels good to me. And I think his skill set pairs pretty well with David Njoku's. They both block their asses off.
Yeah. I mean, because you do need something at tight end. I don't know what happened, by the way. I was under the impression that they had Jordan Akins for one more year, but they posted a graphic like yesterday, and he was listed as an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah.
I could have swore it was a 3-year deal that he had, because I thought I had a conversation. with Pete Smith where he was like, yeah, there's one more year on there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, I could have.
It might have been like a club option, a 2 with a club option for the 3rd, and they might have just not extended that.
Just like slid that under the door that they didn't do it. That they just announce it by putting out a graphic that just.
I can't even remember the dude's name. So before today, when they tendered Whitebeard, it was literally Njoku and I'm trying to think the dude's name. It's is it Kitty McBride? Is that the other tight end on the fucking roster? Did I just say that? Someone fact check me.
I
type that name in.
I don't know.
Did you say Kitty? Like
yeah, dude. Come in. I might be just out of my mind, but just to double check me on that. Type that name in.
Kitty McBride. I'm getting women.
This is like a trivia of like real person or fake person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the other tight end on the roster that isn't David Njoku before today's tendering of Whitebeard.
I'm not seeing
something like that, dude.
I'm not seeing anything.
I think the more we go into this conversation, the more obvious. Like I mean, you could just draft a rookie and put him behind Njoku and fine. But I just feel like if maybe unless they find some type of cheap free agent option, like when you're both throwing out these day 3 picks for Mayer, like that feels like a move that would be a very solid addition for the Browns.
Trey McBride.
Trey McBride's in Arizona.
No.
There's 2 Trey McBrides?
Or hold on. You're right there. It's a McBride name, damn it.
There is not a McBride name on their depth chart that I
feel
see.
Like there has been a McBride on the Browns.
Jeff Swaim.
I
think Swamey.
Legend.
Brendan Bates.
Yeah, they don't have this year's roster posted though. When you look on their website, that's not what you're going to be looking for.
I'm on our lads.
I'm going to go on Over the Cap.
Jordan Akins, Jeff Swaim, Blake Whitehead. Yeah, I got Brendan Bates as the one that I'm saying.
Thanks to everybody for being here.
Where are you seeing it though?
Thank you.
Our lads.
That's updated for right now today.
It was updated 3-1. That's Kitty Foreman.
What's her maiden name though? That's a deep cut.
Who knows? I don't know. I was watching an episode of King of the Hill earlier, and Hank was skydiving, and he's He said, I can see Strickland propane from up here. It's beautiful. And I'm like,
I love King of the Hill.
like, what the fuck?
But I think just like I know we're
Trey McKitty. His name is Trey McKitty.
Trey McKitty.
That's where you see the galaxy brain.
Sure.
That's a
I got there.
I wish it was Trey McBride. That would be pretty cool.
That's a made up name.
I thought
no,
so,
I think Casey's right. It's not a made up name.
Trey McKitty.
This is pre free agency talk that we have got.
Trey McKitty's on your roster. You can upgrade. Michael Mayer. A3 pick, do this.
I'm in.
Let's do this. Let's talk about one player from the combine that we thought.
You can't do that to me.
No, what do you?
One player? Jesus Christ.
We talked about the combine a ton last night, so I figured
we didn't talk about half the positions. I
was gonna say, do we want to dive into a deeper conversation on that, or a deeper conversation on free agency? That's why I said that.
No, let's get horny. Let's talk about players at the combine we're probably not going to end up with. Let's do that.
I want to apologize to Quinshon Judkins.
You bastard.
Because if you go back into like September or October, like the first couple of months of the NFL season, the college season, I did the Will Campbell conversation is we will have that conversation, OG. I promise we'll have that conversation. If you go back into very early in the season, I did a video for the OBR in which I did I was doing top threes very early. I was doing some top threes and stuff like that. I had Quinshon Judkins a running back 1 over Ashton Genty because he's bigger. Like that was my thing. Is hey, he's bigger. I think has a lot of the same like speed and explosiveness and stuff like that. Like I think they're very similar. I just think he holds up better and he can do a little bit more because I think he might be more durable because of his size. That was my thing. That was literally the deciding factor for me. Fast forward to all of the rest of the season. We get out here, we get through the Senior Bowl, we do this, we do that. And I had him at running back 7. And that wasn't...
That's not slander in this class, though. In this class, 7's not bad.
Right. But then I was listening to Todd McShay, no, I'm sorry. It was last night talking to you and Sam Penix, where it was like, I think it was Sam that made the point, and I think McShay may have made that point too, is why I was thinking about that, but made the point that it sticks in our memory that he was the one running people over and Travion Henderson was the big play guy in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like, we kind of forget just how explosive and freaky Quinshon Judkins was at Ole Miss, especially because his role was different towards the tail end of Ohio State. Well, he goes out there and he reminds you, hey guys, like I'm the complete fucking package. And I had like, and this is no disrespect, Dylan Sampson has no business being ranked ahead of him. I ranked him ahead of him in my last rankings.
All right. I remember I asked you about that when we were doing your top 50, and here we are.
Right. And some things get adjusted and they move them around and things like that. And because a lot of those things are fluid in there. But like, that's one of those things where the combine's like 5 to 10% of a player's eval for me. Max 10%, probably less. But it reminds you or makes you go back. Watching Quinshon, seeing that, I went back to Quinshon early in the season this year, and I watched a little bit of his Ole Miss tape last night, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I was tripping, man. God damn. And so I wanted to say that. I wanted to get that out there.
I'm glad you said that because you both know, and everybody that's here with us knows I've been beating the Quinshon Judkins drum this whole time. I just feel like well, I mean, the obvious stuff is just he runs with that attitude, that that I want to hit you. But I just don't think we saw, like, there were always knocks on his top end speed, right? And Travion Henderson really filled that role. But I just think Quinshon just had, like, maybe, and the combine certainly helped him, right? That's what we're talking about here.
Maybe too much.
Right. And that's
much.
That I'm pissed because that's like I just feel like he could be that workhorse for the Browns, unquestionably in my mind. And so I was hoping, maybe he slips a little bit, or maybe one of those situations happens where the Browns trade down and they get an extra pick, and that's what they can do. But somebody's going to take him higher than I think a lot of mock drafts have been showing. That's where I come out now.
I still think Dylan Sampson's a hell of a get. Like, I'm not even, like, worrying about rankings. He didn't run at the combine. He was banged up. Looked fantastic in his field drills. I think he'd post a 4.3 something. He's that fast. Smaller guy, more closer to Trayvon than he is Quinshon, as far as weight, measurable stuff like that. But Quinshon doing what he does at 220, that's impressive.
That's the
draft
point.
is full of impressive dudes. Just the running back class is absurd, and we built it up to be this thing, and then what we saw at the combine just like oh no, we might have undersold it. How impressive this class is! Like, I think it'll break the modern day record for running backs taken in the draft.
Wow.
The difference.
Say that again.
How many running backs is the record? Do you know?
I think there was 23 taken in 17 draft.
It sounds like a fun prop bet that I'm hoping.
I think 30 go. I think 30 get picked.
Oh, baby.
Well, today Dave asked me. He's like, "Okay, say you get Ward with the first pick in this, but when 33 comes around, he said, is there a receiver or running back that if they fell that far, you feel like you have to go get?" And I was like, Dave, I have like 10 to 12 running backs in this draft. I don't think you have to force a running back, but wide receiver is not near as deep. So if a couple guys like Matthew Golden were to slide out of that first round, or Ted McMillan for whatever reason is like he's on a slide right now. If he were to squeeze out of there, I'd feel like you have to jump up and get those, because I think you can get a running back all the way through round 5, starting caliber running back. That's how deep this draft is.
And I wonder where I've said this a million times. I wonder where some of these running backs end up going, because teams say exactly what you just said to themselves.
That run's going to be crazy when they start, though.
Oh yeah. It might not happen until the third round.
Mm-hmm.
What we saw the defensive tackle run at the end of the first the beginning of the second round last year. And I think you could see about that range for defensive tackles again, maybe even running backs at that point. But I think running backs would get pushed down a little bit more, because I like the wide receiver class more than some, but the depth it's once you get outside of like that top 10 wide receivers, you're really getting a lot of role specific guys. For like, not saying that some of the top 10 aren't role specific guys, because some of them are, but like that's kind of where you're getting once you get in the back end of that. Whereas at running back, yeah, you're getting different types, sure, but you're getting starters. Like, what did I say? It was last night or something. I don't know. Oh my God, I do all these fucking podcasts. I don't ever. The difference between like running back 10 and running back 20 is probably not that much.
That's crazy.
Because I think that's still a starter. I think the 20th running back off the board can still be a starter.
Devin Neal, Damian Martinez. These are guys that are going to go.
They're going to go
day 3. These are day 3 guys.
Yeah, they're going to be probably double digits. Those guys are probably in the double digits.
They're starters, I promise.
They're dudes. They're dudes.
Could the Browns draft 2? Would that shock?
I think you have to.
Have to. Okay.
I think you have to in this draft.
I like that.
Well, are you going to get one running back that does everything? Probably not, but you can split it up. You can go hammer then receiver back, because they're in this draft, man.
Unless you want to go like Amari and Hampton and get somebody that can do it all. Like
that's a guy you got to go 33 for. I think there's 5, right? I think obviously Genty, Hampton, Caleb Johnson, and the Ohio State boys. Those are the 5 that I think go within the first 2 rounds.
That sounds
and then
right.
There'll be like a lull, and then there'll be a giant run on these guys. Bashaw Tutins, Jarquez Hunter. Like there's so many guys. Scattaboo. Goddamn Scattaboo.
You forgot about Scattaboo, didn't you? See, that's what the class is.
Because he's like beyond 5. Like, but it's insane.
Somebody brought him up today to me, and I'm like,
on the other side of these types of conversations, I saw talk today that Luther Burden could fall out of the first round. Did you guys see that?
I've seen it. That's ludicrous to me. That's just like that's almost 33. As bad. That's almost as bad as the Tet McMillan thing, because like to me, because I got Travis Hunter, Tet, Luther Burden, 1, 2, and 3. And then of course the Travis Hunter thing is kind of like you put an asterisk there because you just don't know what's going to happen with that situation. And Thursday or Friday, I don't know when they'll publish at the OBR, but I am doing my updated top 20. I'm pushing my top 15 to top 20 and updating it post combine. So that'll be out either late this week or next week. It just depends on. I told Casey and our good friend Randy last night, I'm like, me reorganizing and working on these rankings is just me staring at an Excel spreadsheet and going, well, no, and it's just me making a bunch of noises. The thing about Luther Burden is it's going to be, he didn't have 700 receiving yards. Right. Go watch his tape and you tell me if he's open. You tell me if there's we know MCN is Tennessee love. I love Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan's a dog. He's right about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think I should have had Quinshon higher than him. That's what I was saying. Luther Burden, you're going to be like the production. Okay, but I've seen him do it when he had adequate quarterback play. And that's not just a shot at Brady Cook, who I think is fine. He was also hurt, and they tried to play Brady Cook hurt often. I watched one of those games where Brady Cook, I'm like, this dude can't even move. And it's like they had so little faith in the backup that they were just dragging Brady Cook out there. And then with Luther Burden, there, to me, I think a lot of people are like, is he a slot only? And they're like, well, if he's a slot only, that limits him. And I'm like, does it though? Like a super dynamic slot receiver is not a first round talent.
More of the field is open to you if you play the slot.
I don't care. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the difference from him being wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 3. But like, is he super dynamic? Does he make plays? Does he instantly make your offense better? Yeah, but he only does it from one spot.
Yeah.
So does
the noise on him today is he has sub 9-inch hands. That was the noise going around. And they did a deep dive of players with 9-inch hands or less that have been impressive. And there's been several that are impressive at 9. At sub 9, only one receiver, T.Y. Hilton, has had a prolific career.
Well,
he's special, man. He's sub man. He's quick. He's not just like he can. Luther Burden's a weapon. And then this league where you're constantly trying to look for dudes who can be mismatches, that's what he is. He's a mismatch guy.
Kind of reminds me of the conversation about Ladd McConkey last year when people were saying that like he can't play outside and is he a wide receiver 1 and all those conversations. It's like he had the 10th most receiving yards in the NFL last year. Fun fact. I just don't think it. I don't think it like so. I am running up at 33 to get Luther Burden if I can.
Dude, I would take
what tackles there for me.
Like,
that's where it gets tricky.
Because it's a limited class. But even if I traded back and took Tet McMillan, I would still really consider Luther Burden if he was sitting at 33 because I think that's asinine that he would be there. But you're right about the tackles because it also, again, we'll have some clarity when we talk to you guys again next week. We'll have at least a little bit of clarity because if the Browns have made some kind of moves, or it could be a situation where some of the moves we hope they would make have been made by somebody else. So we'd still have some clarity and stuff there. So yeah, the tackle thing matters. You're right. But like Luther Burden at 33 would be really hard to say no to.
But these are the conversations we have when we're like 49 days out. Like he's not going to be there.
He shouldn't be.
No, he shouldn't be.
I know last year's class was a lot different because there were so many wide receivers. But I just think about those late first round and early second round wide receivers that went last year, and it's like Xavier Worthy and Ladd McConkey, and I get it didn't all work out. Like Xavier Legette was okay. We'll see about that. But I just think the more I think about it, that first pick on day 2 is like such a pivotal place for them, and there's going to be so many options available.
It's one of my favorite picks because somebody has slid. Somebody that has been in our first round mocks and first round talk all year is not going to go in the first round. Probably multiple people. It's going to happen. And you have all night to think about it. And you have all night to field calls about it.
So you do the same thing I do, Jacob. You're doing all these mock drafts. There's some names that always surprise me. I'll see a Kenneth Grant sometimes makes it to round 2. I'll see a Colston Loveland make it to round 2.
Ooh.
These are names that are like, these are mocks. This don't mean anything, but you get used to seeing these names in certain pockets, and you're starting to see certain guys slide out of that realm. Connerly's a guy who's just pretty consistently there, and I think that's one of the tackles you would have to consider if he makes it to round 2.
Yeah. Would you take Armand Membo at 2?
No. But I'd trade back and snatch Armand Membo up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Real quick.
I'd do it in the top 10.
Pick up an additional first?
The offensive tackle from Missouri is who we are referring. Will there be a live draft show? I have a pretty good feeling I'll be on the OBR live draft show.
I know we do it in like shifts.
Yeah, probably.
So whatever night I'm on, not on there, I'll be on here.
I was live, and so was Nick.
Yep.
I think I ducked out in like the 6th round last year, but I do believe I was live for everything else.
That was a marathon.
The draft is during my wife's birthday. Like they need to move the draft, or she needs to move her birthday. One of those things needs to happen. So right now, as it stands, her birthday is on day 3. So day 3, I'll be in no show.
I may be.
Yeah, but you were working the job that you are no longer working.
2 more shifts, my man. 2 more shifts.
Hey, there it is. Good for you.
Dude,
I think I might be coming at you live from Andy's basement. I may attend the Andy. For those who don't know, our friends at Dog Chug and Andy specifically host a draft party every year, and there's quite the festivities around that on Thursday. So I'm gonna put in a long one Thursday at work so I can have Friday off, and I think we're gonna. You might see some interesting things if I do end up live Thursday night.
So something that could make night 1 interesting.
Yeah.
I was big braining it today, listening to the NFL Stock Exchange mock draft.
Oh God, that was so much fun.
And there is a team in this draft that only has 3 picks, and it's the Minnesota Vikings.
I thought they had 4. It doesn't matter.
Good friend Quessy picks at number 24, and then not again till the 5th round.
Yeah, wasn't it like 1?
We have a boatload of picks. I would not be opposed moving up from 33, moving up 9 spots, and giving up a 165 and a 217, and maybe even a 257 to help my guy Quessy out and give him some picks.
They have 4.
And who are you getting in return?
They have
there, Casey?
Number 24.
What are you getting at 24? What do you want?
It depends on what's there. I'm just if the board falls the right way and there's a franchise offensive tackle still chilling there, something that we could desperately use, I would not hesitate to move up 9 spots and give them some extra picks for their trouble.
Okay, I'm looking this up because I wanted to know where they're at.
That could definitely be an opportunity.
They have 4 picks. They have 4.
What are they?
24,
Mm-hmm.
which is theirs. They are projected to get a comp pick in the 3rd round, which is 97.
That's what I was looking. I didn't have the comp pick, obviously. And
they have the Cleveland Browns 5th round pick
for Za'Darius.
Which is pick 140, and they have 161 in the 5th. So they have a 1, a 3, and a pair of 5ths.
Yeah, they could have our 2nd. We could give them 165, 217, and maybe even 257. Jump back up in the 1st round.
You could give them 104, that 4th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Because they go from 97 to 140, right there, smack dab in the middle.
Because, okay, I get it. Whenever you're talking about any team in the draft, you're like, well, they need a talent infusion. Well, I know that, but the Browns specifically teams are valuing their own picks more than ever because every team has their own 1st round pick for the first time in forever. We've talked about that.
I guarantee they won't by draft night.
I like that guarantee. So the Browns gave up all these picks, so much more than most teams are giving. Like Deebo Samuel just went to the Commanders for a 5th, which I think is pretty reasonable given where things go. But my point is, the Browns need talent on their team, young talent, young rookie contract talent, probably more than any team in the NFL, I would argue, because they've had the least
for the next
pick.
2 years.
Yes. And so when you guys talk about these trade down scenarios or trade up or whatever, I just think that they had a very weird lack of trades last year that we've seen.
Yeah, it just kept not happening. I'm like, when's it coming? When's it coming?
And so maybe we see them get back to that this year.
Here's the thing that I did in a mock draft last week. And I did it with Houston at 25, but it still makes sense at 24 with Minnesota for a tackle because listen to this. This is based on team needs from PFF. Number 26, the Rams need a tackle. The Ravens at 27 need a tackle. The Lions at 28 need a center and a guard, and there's a lot of tackles that are going to kick into guard potentially, so that could be one of the tackles there. Washington at 29 needs a tackle. KC at 31 needs a tackle. Philly needs a guard and potentially a tackle to replace Lane Johnson down the road. They might be looking to potentially do something like that. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at between 26 and when you pick at 33, at least 4 or 5 of those teams could really use a tackle, and there is a limited supply. So that's very realistic that you're like, hey, I got to get in front of those teams.
Of that run, yeah.
I mean, it's what's happening right now in New York. The Giants are, from what I understand, really trying to get to number 1, really trying to jump the Browns for Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders or a quarterback. We don't necessarily know which one it is. I think it's Cam Ward. But they're really trying to make sure that they get ahead of the team they know. Because right now, we don't know what Tennessee is going to do, but everybody seems convinced the Browns are going to take a quarterback. Whether I believe that or not, most people think that.
Yep.
So,
and Tennessee has more time, right? Second-year coaches. They can afford to trade down, and you could say that makes sense for them.
They also didn't do Deshaun Watson.
Right.
First-year GM. They got their leashes longer.
Yeah, so they can say, let's get our quarterback in 2026. And so
let's go back to 3 and get like a couple of day 2 picks. And but my point is like you want to watch those needs. And like I said, you're talking, the Rams and the Ravens and in the Commanders and the Chiefs for sure are all teams right there in front of you at 33, where it's like, if you like one of these guys, like, I've gone back and forth on this because I'm afraid of the injury, but like
Josh Simmons,
man, like at 24, it's like,
yeah,
you might
have the best tackle in the draft at 24
because he has a patellar tendon tear.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about that is it was torn in October.
And they're saying he's going to be ready for his pro day. So
yeah, they say he's going to do some
we'll know
stuff.
that by then.
And if he's moving, he's not going to be 100%, but if he's moving well, I'm going to be like,
like, I get what you're saying, but like doing another injury at offensive tackle.
I swore it off.
I did too. I fucking did
Josh
too.
Simmons, I don't know, man.
But it's one of those spots where it's like, Howie would do it.
What would Howie do? Print the fucking shirts.
I mean, honest to God, we talked about this. Everybody talked about this as soon as they win the Super Bowl. It's like, what is this thing that they continuously do? They just don't overthink it. And they're like, hey, this guy's really freaking talented. Does he come with some issues? Yes. I listened to an interview with him with Todd McShay. Great interview, by the way. He was just so like genuine.
The deciders.
Yeah. It was so cool. I really liked hearing him talk. And he's like, we've got some rules. He's like, if there is violence against women, it's a no-go. Any kind of violence against women, he's like, I don't care if he's like, that's not something we override, period. He's like, what he said something like, he's like, you can't be like, oh, it was 10 years ago and he's sorry and he reformed. He's like, nope, it's just a no-go for us. We're not going to do that. Now, is there other things that we can overlook? Go look no further than Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter has that situation with the drag racing in the debt. I'm right on that, right? It's Jalen Carter, not Nolan Smith. Okay, yeah. They got so many damn Georgia defensive linemen. Sometimes I get confused which one was which. But with Jalen Carter, there was that stuff, which kind of sparked these maturity questions. And so he slips in the draft, and Howie's like, I think this is the best guy in the draft. And he's just going to –
Yep.
And so, like, to me, I'm with you because we sat on this fucking show and we're like, no more character, fucking no more goddamn injuries. But son of a bitch, he's really good. Like, he's really talented. And if he's there in the 20s.
There's also the reality, like, it might not even pay off in 25. It might be a 26 payoff.
Sure.
But if you have your franchise left tackle from 26 to 30, it's hard to pass up. We've been looking for that. We've been looking for that since Joe left.
Right. And a great way to
like, I'm not taking him in the top 10, but if he falls.
Yeah. But a great way to make up for missing on your franchise tackle at 10 is to find your franchise tackle in the 20s, right? Like, that would go a long way, I think, towards fixing a lot of the Browns' problems, because then you're looking at it and hopefully his name completely escapes me right now. DeJuan Jones. Hopefully DeJuan Jones recovers well and that can go. But I just feel like if you draft a tackle high, suddenly you can be in that luxury position again where hopefully these guys are going to be ready for this year, but it's like you're not putting the pressure on DeJuan Jones.
You know what I'd really like to do with DeJuan Jones?
What's that?
I would love to make him the swing tackle in 2025 if he's healthy, because we've seen him play at both tackle positions. I would love to get him more reps at left tackle. Like, if he's ready. Here's the thing. I think people are kind of acting like he was really good at left tackle, and he wasn't. He was okay at left tackle.
He was better than what you had.
Yeah.
It's and the whole, like, when you're starving, a saltine will taste like a Ritz.
Exactly. So I think that reality is he's atrocious as a run blocker. Like, he's not good. And I think some of that is because of the size. Now, it has slimmed down. Part of it is potentially recovering from the injury. But like there's this talk about them wanting to be a little stricter about him and his weight and where it needs to be next year. And what better way to try to get all of that to come together without putting pressure on him and making him that swing tackle, getting him reps at both sides. I would still have a veteran swing tackle there, like to where maybe he's the fourth tackle instead of the third, but I would love him to be that third or fourth guy that has the flexibility now that he's played both sides and allow him to kind of potentially put everything together and improve as a run blocker, get the weight under control, get healthy, just kind of put some things together. Now, taking Josh Simmons, who potentially isn't ready, who may not be ready for week one, would kind of throw a damper on that. But that's also why I think you go out and you get some kind of veteran tackle of some ilk. But yeah, man, like I don't know how I told you guys before the show started. I said I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. I have no idea where we're going with this. We're just like
doing good.
That's
47 minutes. No
I,
script.
I think as we do, I think right. I do think as we look forward though, because free agency is going to be sooner.
We're going to be balls deep in a week.
Right. And so what I named the show is free agency nears, Cleveland's intentions will be clear. And I think I'm really curious to see how they handle the free agent quarterback question, because we know somebody's going to be here. They're going to get some veteran. They're not just going to draft 2 rookies or whatever. I mean, maybe they would, but they got to get somebody in that room that is a veteran and is experienced, right?
Yeah, and I think they got to do it quick. Like it doesn't need to be a starter, but it needs a guy. I think you need to sign a guy you're comfortable starting.
I'm gonna.
I'm not saying starting 17 games. I'm just saying starting, because you just don't know how the draft's going to play out and blah 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 blah.
I'm just gonna stake right now. I want Sam Darnold in that quarterback room because Minnesota isn't going to franchise him. Didn't franchise him, whatever. And I just feel like, okay, if I'm going to accept a trade down scenario, if that's something that is or could happen, which, I mean, despite what you said earlier, Jacob, where a lot of people are under the impression that the Browns are taking a quarterback, I think Sam Darnold makes the most sense to, number one, be a guy that I think can be effective in Kevin Stefanski's system as he was in O'Connell's, and number two, not put the initial pressure on the guy you draft at number 2 to start right away. And worst case scenario, you have a quarterback injury. I would still feel comfortable with Sam Darnold giving my team a chance to win.
I mean, I'm signing. Whoever signs Sam Darnold is signing him to start, and I'm not saying I'm opposed to that. I guess what's the number?
That's the whole thing.
That's a good question.
If he gets close to 40, you're out.
Right. You can't.
I've said all along I'm okay with giving him what Baker got. It was what, 3 for 100.
I think something like that.
That was what, like, I'll pull it up.
40 million guaranteed or something.
Something like that. I don't have a problem with that. But is that what he's gonna get? No, I'm sorry. I typed in Sam Darnold.
If you are going to trade down, you had better like. I was having this conversation as you look that up. I just want to add this. I was having this conversation with the hosts. Were having Lima and Ken Carmen were talking about a 92.3, and then we were talking in a Twitter thread under Brad Ward's post, and I just pointed out that if they are going to trade down, they had better be damn sure that whoever this quarterback option is that they're going to go with gives them a chance to win, because no regime in the history of the NFL has gotten the time that they would need to rebuild it. I just think they have to win. They can't do a rebuild. And so if you're going to take that route, you had better get the best free agent quarterback option you can, which in my mind is Sam Darnold.
interesting thing about Baker's contract is they could cut him after this year. Like they could cut him after 2025. They'd have 17.3 million in dead cap in 26, but they would save 28.4. But yeah, that's what he got. He got 30 million or 100 million. It was 100 million and 40 was guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. But yeah, no, the Sam Darnold question, that's what it comes down to. But like, that's the thing is Sam Darnold needs a lot of things in place.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Jerry Jeudy's there and David Njoku is there? There are weapons. If you make another trade, you bring in a new, you help fix up that line. I think the line will be better just with the scheme change. I think they'll be better just how they are, even though I think there will be changes. And you dip into the running back pool. I mean, he's not perfect, but like, can he give you top 16? Can he still be a top 16 quarterback? I think so.
What say you, Casey?
Possibly.
I don't like paying Darnold. I just don't like it.
Okay.
I stole it for a year. He also had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and played indoors. And there's a lot of factors there. And O'Connell, I don't know. I'm not keen on paying him though.
So, and I'm glad we can have this conversation because I brought up Sam Darnold, obviously. So where are you guys at on the free agent quarterbacks? Because we know they're going to sign one, right? So who's your option you're going with? I feel like this is a great thing that we can look back on next week.
I'm trade. I'm actually waiting on Kirk Cousins to force his way out.
We have 3 days?
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm waiting on.
When's his guarantee?
That's my first option.
Okay.
But I'm still drafting a guy. Like there's no either or. It's all things. The net is wide, boys. Bring all the quarterbacks to me.
When's that guarantee for Kirk? The 8th?
I thought it was after the league New Year. I thought it was like the 15th.
Yeah, it might be.
Or yeah. I thought it was directly after the league New Year, which is Tuesday.
That's a good question.
Late year's Wednesday.
Wednesday at 4:00.
Yeah, 4 p.m. Kirk Cousins guarantee. Oh, I did not spell that. Right. On the 5th day, Cousins' contract includes a $10 million roster bonus for 26 if he's on the roster past the 5th day of the 2025 league year. So yeah, 5 days.
Okay.
Which is not as fast as we want things to happen. But
I was hoping. For some reason, I was thinking it was like a couple of days before the league year.
OG Philly, I just want to preface by saying it's not like I'm not over the moon about Sam Darnold, but in the situation that we're going to accept a trade down, I'm just thinking of Sam Darnold as the best of the veteran quarterback group. That's just my opinion.
He probably is the best of that, of what's currently available. But does that make him good?
Damn it, Philly.
Damn
it, Philly.
Oh, God. Carson Wentz.
I was ignoring that. Nick, you're the one that put that on the screen. I was ignoring it.
Do you remember, just to walk down memory lane, when the Browns traded down and then their first game of that season was against Philadelphia and they
lit them up.
Boat raced us. Just Carson Wentz balled. I don't know that I've been more upset at the Browns in a season opener ever.
I don't know, man. Tennessee in 19.
Yeah, that was bad too. That was
because I had so much expectations. I watched that Wentz one though in that movie theater with just me and my buddy. And it was a 420-inch screen. Watching that ass whooping, and he's an Eagles fan. It was
whoa, man.
Not great, man.
But who's the best then? Who's the best?
That's what I'm saying. But that's the thing. There's not sexy answers. It's not like the obvious. Like could Jimmy Garoppolo end up being your quarterback? He could.
Yeah.
Like, the range of outcomes here is not awesome.
Like when the Saints are saying
the Pickens be slim, son.
If the Saints are telling you they're keeping Derek Carr, I feel like that speaks to the depth of the free agent options out there.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a banger class either coming out. Like there's a perfect storm for you not getting an awesome quarterback this year.
Yeah. So, and that's, I guess that brings me back to the entire point I have, which maybe in a vacuum, Shedeur Sanders isn't the quarterback you want to build your franchise around. And I understand that because you want more elite traits. I get that. But if Cam Ward goes number one, because I would really like Cam Ward, but if Cam Ward goes number one and you're Andrew Berry and you're saying, I have to win this year, I'm just asking because you look at the quarterback landscape and you say, what is my best chance to win this year? And I think it is just hitting the high range outcome on Shedeur because I feel like the ceilings are far more known for basically all, like Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Danny Dimes. I just feel like those ceilings are so much more known. So it makes the most sense to me to at least try to find upside that's not yet known. That like they were asking today on 92.3 if you knew that Shedeur Sanders was going to be Bo Nix level quarterback, would you take him at 2? Most people said no. I would say yes. If you will give me Bo Nix level quarterback play, and I get it, Denver's defense was great, but he still helped them get to the playoffs in his rookie season. I'm taking Bo Nix level this year because, number one, the regime needs to win, and number two, I just don't see any other better option than if you know he's going to be Bo Nix. And I'm so curious to know what you guys would say to that.
I think a guy can get a Bo Nix level player on day 2.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll trade for Malik Willis right now.
I knew you were going to say that.
I will right now because what you just said, unknown upside, still ascending. Took off in LaFleur's system. Looked like he belonged right away. Young, untapped. They drafted Sean Clifford to be the backup there. I would do that shit in a heartbeat.
There's options. And so I think that brings us back to the original point that we are going to understand. I feel like the Browns draft plan is going to become a lot more apparent with how they handle this free agency.
Mm-hmm.
So by the next time we see you guys, because free agency starts Tuesday at noon, is that correct?
No,
Legal
Monday.
tampering starts Monday.
Oh, Monday. Oh, yeah. So fireworks are going. All right. So we're going to have so much to say to everybody. This is really, this guys is the last week of dead season. Honestly, we're back. We're back. Just when you thought the NFL had just barely ended, we are back.
Yep.
So for everybody that's joined us here, especially while the 50-10 Cavs are playing, we love you. And I can't get enough. This is but hopefully going to be where the Browns take this and turn it around. So we're going to see. We're going to break it all down by the next time we see you on Tuesday. If you hit that like and subscribe button, we will love you forever. Probably going to do some type of giveaway at some point here. Well, I'll talk to these guys here and see what we can do. But this has been a final episode of Dead Season episode of the Barking Brown Show. And Nick, he's Jacob. That's Casey. Go Browns.
Yeah.